Welcome everyone, welcome back. This is our second lecture in our Pharmacy Fundamentals course, where we'll walk through the Georgia State Board of Pharmacy registration for pharmacy tech licensing, and also discuss the differences in various other states' requirements for receiving your pharmacy technician license. So in some states, the requirements for getting your license is similar to that for the national certification, which we discussed in the first lecture with the Pharmacy Technician Certification Board, the PTCB, which is very odd, but again, beneficial. If your state requires you to submit continuing education credits or anything of that sort, that's similar to the national certification exam, I do recommend you go ahead and just complete both. Those requirements are for renewing your licensing and your certification every 2 years. It's better to go ahead and just get that certification. It's more beneficial for you to go ahead and get that certification. And if your state requires the same list of items that you need for both, kill two birds, one stone, just knock it out. Also, I encourage you all to research your specific state requirements for becoming a pharmacy technician. In my research, I found that not every state requires you to go through the State Board of Pharmacy to get your license. Some states want you to go through the Department of Health, and that was very new to me. So also just do a simple search of your particular state's requirements for pharmacy technicians, and they'll tell you where to go. Do you need the Department of Health, or do you need your State Board of Pharmacy to apply for your licensing? I wanted to take a look at the different coasts of becoming a pharmacy technician. I chose Florida here because it's adjacent to Georgia, and many residents, if you leave Georgia, you might be headed to Florida, but just because it's adjacent, and just to look at the various differences from moving from Georgia to Florida State, what is required of you. You may have that national certification, but you also have to get licensed in the state of Florida. So what changes would you need to make or apply for if you're moving to the state of Florida and work as a pharmacy technician? Florida technicians are not required to be certified to work in the state of Florida, but you are required to be licensed. That's very similar to Georgia. You don't need that certification to get a job, but you do have to apply for your state license. In order to renew your licensing in Florida, you have to complete 20 hours of CEs prior to renewal every 2 years. So renewal for your licensing is similar in most states. I say in most, some states you have to renew every single year. But if your state requires renewal every 2 years, and it requires you to complete continuing education, like the state of Florida, again, you might as well just get your pharmacy certification. It has the same requirements for renewal. And again, you knock those two birds out with one stone. You have to at least be 17 years of age or older and required to submit a written application. The written application is not unusual. It's the application to apply to get your license. So that's pretty simple. But it's the written part that should highlight that. The written part is very key. There's an online application and a written application. Pharmacy techs are required to submit proof of completed training, pharmacy technician education or training. Not every state requires you to go through a pharmacy technician training program. It looks like the state of Florida does. This will be difficult for Georgia residents and other residents. If your state didn't require you to go through a training program to get your license in that state, and then you move out of state and they're like, well, that's nice you have your certification, but if you didn't complete a state training program, you can't get licensed in our state, and therefore you cannot work as a pharmacy technician in our state. So it's very also important, if you know that you're moving and you work as a pharmacy technician, go ahead and you have to do that research ahead of time. What does that state require for you to work as a pharmacy technician? You must also include a copy of your U.S. Social Security card in that application. Many states have particular identifications that they would like for you to use. The state of Georgia has 2 pages worth of identifications that they accept. So they're not really particular. Just pick one. Even your marriage license may work. And they're good with it. So make sure you research what identification is acceptable in the state that you're in and the state that you may be moving to. Again, the application fee is $50 and your renewal application fee is $55. So your renewal fee every year, every 2 years, you must pay $55. This is actually pretty cheap. There are some states that are actually much cheaper than this, but there are several states, including Georgia, that are much more expensive than $55. So go Florida. Support you guys. Going all the way to the West Coast. California technicians are not required to complete continuing education credits, which is nice, really nice, and especially if you have to go through the trouble with your certification. So, California technicians are not required to complete CEs to renew their licensing, which is really nice. CEs can become a hassle if you wait till the last minute like I do every year. So that's really nice. You don't have to do CEs just to renew your state license. That's very important. But you must have a high school diploma or a GED to apply for your California state license. California also has another caveat, very similar to the state of Florida. They want you to have completed higher education coursework or a pharmacy technician training program. Not every person that comes out of high school goes straight into college or some type of college coursework, but they mentioned that if you have pursued any type of junior college, technical college pretty much, or any other higher university coursework in any field will suffice before you apply for a California state license. They also request fingerprint cards and a federal and state criminal background check. That's not unusual. You will see that most states do require these items, a background check, maybe not fingerprint cards, but they do require you to get fingerprinted. You can actually get your fingerprint cards at your local police station or a designated list, according to that state, a designated list of locations where you can go get your fingerprint and submit to the criminal background check. The criminal background check is very important because if you have a felony, unfortunately, you cannot work as a pharmacy technician or a pharmacist in the United States. You are working with medication and more specifically narcotics. And again, unfortunately, we have many cases of diversion where medication goes missing, or we have employees that tend to try to get away with stealing medication. And so they try to head that off at the beginning. If you have any felony, it may be unrelated to medication or drugs in particular, but they just, felonies, you can't be a pharm tech or a pharmacist. Also, if you obtain a felony while working as a pharmacy technician or a pharmacist, there goes your license. I do find that disappointing just for those individuals that you work all this time and you work so hard to receive this licensing and this accreditation, and then just like that, you lose all that hard work. Your license is gone. That's your career. What else can you do? You submitted all this time for this career and now it's gone. So also be careful. Make sure that you, one, do not have a felony, and you work hard not to get a felony for any reason, because this livelihood, this career that you have put work into can disappear just like that. California requires you to include your most recent passport photo taken within the 6 months. This is their identification that they require. Again, not unusual. This is actually included in that background check information, the fingerprint cards. So that, again, just not unusual. It's actually included within that requirement of the written application. So California, we see here their registration fee is $80, more than Florida, but the cost of living in California is much more than the East Coast. So that makes sense. What doesn't make sense is the state of Georgia requiring a $100 non-refundable fee for their application. So yay, Georgia, get that money. Georgia state requirements do not require continuing education for renewal, which is nice. Again, if continuing education, some people like to get on the ball. For me, I'm always rushing very last minute. So it's really nice. We do not need continuing education to renew our license, but we have to get that continuing education done for that certification. Must be at least 17 years of age. and must be enrolled in high school or have already received a diploma or GED. Georgia is nice. You can actually become a pharmacy technician while you're currently still in high school. So it's a cool, nice high school job that you can get, or right out of high school. It's a nice job to get while straight out of high school, pays very well, and actually may support you pretty well while you're pursuing any other higher education. You must submit to a criminal background check in the state of Georgia as well. And renewals. Okay, Georgia renewals are fairly odd in itself and look as odd in the requirements for it. So we renew every 2 years on the odd number year by June 30th. So every licensed pharmacy technician in the state of Georgia must submit their renewal application before June 30th or their license will expire. And it's also submitted on the odd number year. So we are currently in year 2020 during the filming of this video. So all of the licensed pharmacy techs in the state of Georgia have to submit a renewal application by year 2021, June 30th. Also, it's also unfortunate for pharmacy technicians that are applying for their license in a even number year. They'll have to apply for their renewal the following year, despite the fact that they just received their license the previous year. So it's not every 2 years for each person. It's every odd number year for all licensed pharmacy techs. So they try to keep it contained that way. Let's go ahead and look at a walkthrough for the Georgia Board of Pharmacy and how you would apply for your license. So here, Georgia Board of Pharmacy, gpb.georgia.gov. Every state has a different web address, so don't think this is standard for most of your states. Right here on the very front home page, licensing, this is what we're looking for. We want to apply online. Sends us to our apply online page. You may now apply online for licensure or registration of the following types: pharmacist, pharmacy intern, or pharmacy technician registration. This is what we're looking for. We have to come back after we submit our online application. We must return to this page to submit a supplemental application packet. After you have submitted a complete online application, you must also complete the online application supplemental packet, which is available under applications and forms. Do not submit this supplemental packet until you have completed your online application. So let's go back up here. We're going to click Apply Online. And you'll see it already has my information plugged in. I only come back to this page every 2 years, and there's no way I can remember my login for this page, so I'll go ahead and have my computer save my password for me. What we do want to do here, you're a brand new applicant, so you read all of the text in your page. Make sure you don't miss anything. If it's highlighted, if it's in red, make sure you read it. Very important. Start here to apply for initial licensing with the board, to renew a license, or to update your address with the board. If you no longer have your user ID, click on the appropriate link below. If you wish to register for a personal license account, such as a dentist or pharmacy technician, click here, which we will. Down here, if you wish to register for a business or facility license account for a pharmacy, you'll click here. Not many people are aware, but businesses and institutions have to apply for a pharmacy license as well. Hospitals, they have pharmacies, they need a pharmacy license. Standalone pharmacies, your Kroger's, Walmart's, Rite Aid's, CVS, Duane Reade's, they all need a pharmacy license. Very unusual. Also, your distribution centers that stock medication and ship medication out, they need a pharmacy license. So they will click here to apply for a licensing for their business or their institution. We are a person, so we're going to apply for a pharmacy technician license. We'll click here. Again, my information is already loaded. I'm going to try and fill in some dummy information so you'll see what would happen. I'll have my caps lock on. As a new applicant, where you will go, you'll click search. They're looking for your information. We are unable to find your records based on the search criteria because you're a brand new applicant. That makes sense. Again, if it's highlighted in yellow, please read these instructions carefully. If you currently hold a license with the state of Georgia or already submitted a paper application to the state, click here to search for your information again. Do not complete this form below. We are a new applicant, so it's not applicable to us. In this page, you will fill out the required fields, prefix if you are a Mr. or Mrs. or a doctor, name, middle, last, all required, date of birth, social, gender, and citizenship. Down here, you'll fill out your address, phone number, and email. And then you'll come up with your own user ID and password. Once you do that, you'll click register, and it will take you, it'll take you back to this page. We're going to go ahead and log in with my credentials. And it'll load this top information in here for you. If you are just beginning the application, it'll say pending in this information here. Once you come to this page, you'll click over here for apply for a license, and it'll inquire which license are you looking to apply for. So dentistry, pharmacy is your profession. License type, you're looking for a pharmacy technician license. And then obtain by application. And then you'll click next. It'll take you to another field of simple information to fill out. And then it'll return you back to this home page of your primary information. You'll pay your $100 fee. And this is what your pending page will look like. And it'll have your name, your address, and your license number. It'll say pending application. Going back to the Georgia Board of Pharmacy application page, we need to come and apply for our supplemental application. The Georgia Pharmacy Technician Licensing is a two-part. Again, you complete the online application, submit your $100 fee, and then you'll come back here and apply for the pharmacy intern. Oh, no, we'll go down further. Pharmacy Technician Application Supplement. It's a PDF form. Let's see if we can open it up. Oh, it's a download. Again, I said if it's highlighted or in red, please read. This is not an application, this is a supplement. Do not submit this supplement until you have submitted your application online. Again, it's fine print. It says we'll keep your online application for a year. And it's just requirements that need to be done. It gives you instructions on how to obtain your fingerprint and submit your background check. And if you are currently employed in a pharmacy as maybe a pharmacy tech specialist, it would like that information so it can add that to your pharmacy technician license. This is your sworn affidavit that any information that you submit or have previously submitted you are liable for, and it is correct. You must submit it take it to a notary public to have them sign it. You'll sign it in front of them and they'll stamp it down below. This is where you submit your citizenship, and you'll have it notarized as well. Notary public. This is where you'll submit your identification, and these are the various forms that the Georgia State Pharmacy Board not requires, but is acceptable. All these forms of permanent resident card, employment authorization, passport issued by a foreign government. Georgia just needs some type of ID, certificate of report of birth, naturalization papers, citizenship papers. If you got it, they'll take it. You check off which form of identification you have, and then you submit not a copy, an original. So you actually have to go get an original of your form of identification that you're going to submit with this supplemental packet. This page here, walks you through how to apply to go to one of the designated areas to get your fingerprints done and submit to a background check. You'll go to this website. It says select Georgia gaps. I did not see Georgia gaps. Maybe I need to continue. Let's try this. There we go. Also, again, I'm very particular. Read the fine print. I've always skipped this red part here, but it's important. So locate registration menu at the bottom of page, applicant registrations. That's straightforward. And on the registrations options page, select Georgia State only background checks. That's very particular. Do not select Department of Community Health. It's very eye-catching, and you may feel like you want to click on that, but it's telling you in red, do not click Department of Community Health. You want to select the Georgia State only background checks. Now notice applicant registration. Georgia State only background checks. This is what we're looking for. I think over here, Department of Community Health. I'm not sure why applicants would click on this, but before many of them would click on that. It's required for different licensing purposes. We want Georgia State only background checks. And if you all will notice how many steps I have already gone through, which is why I'm doing this walkthrough with you all, and your state may be much simpler than this, but I'm doing this particularly for Georgia residents. This is very, very meticulous and back and forth. So this is why I'm doing the walkthrough with everyone. So you'll click on the Georgia State only background checks. You'll read the fine print. Do you solemnly swear? Yes, I have read and accepted these terms. You'll continue. And then another application where you'll fill out your pertinent information. Reviewing agency ID. Many applicants get tripped up on this information here. It's actually located on your instruction page. So your reviewing agency field is listed here. Make sure you read all your instructions very carefully. It'll walk you through the steps, step by step, one by one. It won't leave anything out for you. Also, they want to get the money up front, so credit card, how will you be paying for your fingerprint? And then after you submit this application, it'll take you to a field to locate where you may go. That's up here, fingerprint locations, where you can go to obtain your fingerprint and background check. So the application is to submit to a background check, and then you'll look in this general area in the state of Georgia. Where do you live? You'll highlight a general area that you live in, live near, and no, it really doesn't matter for Georgia. You click on any area and they'll list all of the locations, so it really doesn't matter. But it gives you a list of locations, which are very odd locations, like UPS store, a right at home store, Collins Financial Group, very odd locations that you can go submit to a fingerprint, and it's just a little scan. You place your hand on the scanner, they take your fingerprints, and you're done. You've completed this part of your application. Once you do that, identification needed for fingerprinting. Yes, bring your ID. You set up an appointment to go to the fingerprint location, so they're waiting for you. And then you mail this packet in. It's one of the very last steps on the previous page. All of this information, identification, your notarized documents, all of that, you submit it to this address at the very top of the page. You submit it in a manila envelope. You do not fold the envelope. You do not fold the paperwork. It's a 9x10 envelope, a 9x11. You submit in a manila envelope, unfolded, unstapled, unpaperclipped. They just need the sheets of paper, and you mail it to this address here once you're completed. So first you do the online application, and then you will do the supplemental application with just the notarized documents. you go to your fingerprint, you go to the Cogent application website. It's linked in the instructions. You fill out your fingerprint application, submit to the background check, go to the fingerprint location of your choice, get your fingerprints done, mail in your supplemental application, and you wait, particularly not that long, but within a month to a month and a half to receive your pharmacy technician license. So I hope that was helpful for everyone. If you do have questions, I do not mind going through this again, or maybe submitting a separate a separate video for doing your fingerprinting or filling out any of the paperwork. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below or send me an email, shoot me an email. I'll be happy to answer them, and I hope this is helpful for you guys. Be sure to look for your third lecture for the different careers you can pursue as a certified pharmacy technician. It's a vast variety. Many people think it's just working in your retail locations, your community locations, counting pills, and that's great. That's your skills and your background, but there's much more you can do. If you become stagnant, there's so much more you can do as a pharmacy technician. I can't wait to share it with you all.